What is up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, your home for personal development tips, sports news, music, and more. We are back at you guys with episode 55 of the podcast. I'm glad to be back after a 1 month hiatus. Tonight's topic, guys, we are talking about effective leadership. More specifically, we're going to talk about tips in order to be an effective leader, both inside and outside of the workplace. We're going to talk about the challenges that come with being an effective leader. And we're also going to talk about the ultimate benefits of being a really, really good leader and how you will ultimately benefit society, whether being in the workplace or outside the workplace. As always, guys, like I said, I'm glad to be back. We're your host for the evening. I'm Steve Ushler. Joined alongside me is my man on the other side.
What's up?
What's up, bro?
GMAC88 right here. G Money, how you guys doing? And we're back for episode 55.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, man. Before we hop into it, we're just gonna play to you guys this brief intro, and then we're gonna hop into the grand show. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. As George knows, my man Mo from Virginia does. What's up, guys? As I said, welcome back to the Locked In Podcast. Glad to be back with you guys. 55, crazy. We're already at 55 episodes, man. 55 episodes deep, and we even took a couple weeks off here and there, so we'd probably be closer to 60. But glad to be back with you guys after a little brief 1 month hiatus where I was ultimately traveling outside the country for a little bit. And then ultimately working on some career-driven projects behind the scenes for some career growth to further my career ultimately. But George held the fort down, kept the show rolling. We're glad to be back with you guys. As I said, we're talking about leadership tonight, guys, effective leadership, whether that's inside the workplace or outside the workplace. We're not going to waste too much of your time. We're going to hop right into it tonight. I'll probably kick us off, George. We'll go back and forth. And then just like a little brief background. Actually, George, it took a little bit of leadership when we first started this podcast, right? We had discussed it a little bit during the times of COVID. But I think the greatest thing is that, although we have some similar goals and we have like some similar vision in a way, I guess, of how we want to grow this podcast, we also have differing perspectives as well, right? We both, because we come from different paths, man. So I honestly, too much cohesiveness, I don't think is necessarily like a great thing. I would argue against it because I think when you have people with differing perspectives, it's actually good because you can see a different type of perspective that you wouldn't see if everybody just agreed with the same exact thing,
Exactly.
whether that's in a corporation, whether that's inside your friend circle, maybe you're a coach on a team, whatever the case may be. When there's too much like-minded thinking, you fail to see any other type of perspective because
That's
you
very
agree on
true.
everything. It's kind of like being yes men inside of someone's organization. You tell somebody yes all the time. You literally don't have anybody holding each other accountable. But that's a little backstory. Is like George and I actually, when we had collaborated to start this podcast in September of 2020, we had discussed this like
Oh wow.
June or like May or
Yeah,
even possible April of 2020, like 4 or 5 months prior to us actually getting started. But that's just a little background note for you guys because I think it's actually very, very relevant because of the topic that we're talking about tonight.
yeah. It definitely
So
falls for the topic.
So we're gonna hop into it. Ultimately, I just want to, ultimately always address my co-host here, man. How you doing tonight, my friend? Before we get into this,
Damn, man. Thanks, bro. Thanks. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I was kind of looking forward to doing this one with you. Obviously, as you already know, and a lot of our viewers know, last week definitely rocked as far as last week's episode. Not that we haven't had some amazing episodes and weeks over time and over the course of a year and a half we've been in existence. But last week was just a good connection of energy. It all worked out, and it's like, remember I told you so because you seen the promo. There was really no real topic, but we kind of had a topic, but not exactly a set up topic. Well, we did it, and he ended up becoming a great one. And honestly, when we spoke, when you came back this month, obviously from your little month or so hiatus, we discussed this topic. I was like, I think it'll be a great one because it seems like natural. See, last week people don't understand that it wasn't just about DJing. DJing was one of the main things because Ro's a DJ, Manny's a DJ. I have a little bit of a DJing experience, so it was one of the common things we have. But in reality, those that you watched for yourself, you said a little bit. There was a great episode on different things. So today would be the perfect way to kind of continue that and kind of keep growing. And again, your first episode back, so welcome back, of course, like we just said. And you know what I mean, man? It's just fun to be here. I mean, I'm just having fun with it. Enjoying it, and I think it's gonna be a good topic today for sure. We're already underway, and like I said, let's kind of like keep it moving and keep doing what we're doing, bro. It's been a good fall. We started last year, late summer, fall, so we're kind of somewhat of a fall podcast, a little bit, just because we started around that time, and it's been a lot of growth. So you know what I mean. And speaking of which, being a leader has got to do a lot of growth. So we'll get into that as we progress. And I think it kind of goes well in hand to hand what we're talking about with today's episode, today's situation, and with me kind of taking the sole ownership of the podcast for about a month since you're kind of like you're away on vacation and you did some business as well. Let's be clear on that. You weren't just on vacation neither. You just vacation business. It was two things you took off. So
yeah, for sure. Like 2 weeks for vacation, 2 weeks for business. So
yeah,
a little bit of a mix. I just ultimately didn't think I'd have enough time to allocate. You know what I mean? So I did do some things behind the scenes, but nothing like actually like going
yeah.
live material wise, because I knew
Yeah,
it'd
no
be
doubt.
away.
I have
But
fun running the things, Lord. Even if you weren't there, man. Like I said, sometimes definitely you want your co-host to be there, and sometimes you miss your sort of like your partner in crime. But sometimes it feels good doing your own. And I was blessed and lucky to have some good guests, and I'll leave it at that. But like I said, I did a little on my own too. As they know, we did skip 1 week in October, but just because it was one less second thing, and it didn't go, it just kind of went that way. But
hey, man,
like I said, man,
it kind of goes with taking a leader role, right? Like when one of us aren't here, you know what I mean? Like the other one holds down the fort,
of
and
course,
it kind of goes into leadership, you know what I mean? Because obviously we're a team, but when one of the men aren't there, it's up to the other man to take the reins and
take
just
rain, right? Cannot bend on the
operate.
ship, if it's sinking. Yeah, other people might have left already, but you gotta, captain says the ship at the very end. Then you just go in a small boat when the ship sinks. So I have to make sure nothing sank. And like I said, man, it was good. We definitely got getting some good traction as well as some good comments. And honestly, bro, I know we have one topic today, but we could talk about so much. I mean, just in terms of what's going on in the YouTube streets, whether we like to admit it or not, me and you now, we are part of the YouTube streets now because I mean, everybody watches YouTube and yeah, man, a lot of these so-called, these influencers, social media, people that are going viral, YouTubers, gurus on these kind of fields are talking about a lot of things, and a lot of things going on, bro, in the actual streets and the YouTube streets. But that's material for later on, like I always say. So
Yeah, absolutely, man, and yeah, just a lot of traction, man. We're gaining it a lot. It's slowly but surely, but it's a process, man. It's like part of being a leader. You literally have to be a little bit patient. You have to, and being a leader requires, seeing change. You might have to make changes here and there, and just embracing change. Change is scary for everybody. You know what I mean? But just making those decisions. And leadership doesn't just extend inside the corporation where you're leading employees, but say your father dies, you become the man of the family. You got to lead a family. You know what I mean? You got to, sometimes you're the leader among your friends. You're a leader on a team. It is what it is. What it is. There's so many different roles where you can take a leadership role. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to hop right into it, guys. Before we hop into it, just guys, if you see anything you like, you have any thoughts, we'll read your comments throughout the show when we have a chance to check. George, maybe you could check when I'm talking sometimes, or I can check when you're talking. But obviously, still focus and paying attention. But we'll address your comments, concerns, whatever it is. Guys have some ideas, or you have some examples of leadership, drop them below. We'll read them. We'll put them up on the screen. Guys, we always appreciate the feedback. And if you're watching this later on or whatever, still comment. It's okay if we're not live. Drop your comments. We always appreciate the feedback. And on YouTube, if you're watching us, hit that thumbs up button. To like the video, hit that notification bell, turn notifications on, subscribe to the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm ultimately, guys. So, we appreciate it as always. But you know what? Let's just hop into it here. If you're fine with that, my mans.
Yeah, I'm ready, bro. We're good to go.
We'll hop right in. I'm just going to start with kind of just defining what a leader is. This doesn't have to be like a whole, like, sitting in a classroom, like educational lesson, but ultimately just breaking down what a leader is. There's differences. There's a leader and then there's a manager, right? So like a manager is a hierarchy within an organization. A leader, on the other hand, what do leaders do? Well, the obvious, they lead, of course, right? This is a good thing to think about. All leaders are managers in some way. But not all managers are leaders. That's just a key note. Guys, if you actually see me looking down at any time, I actually did take a lot of notes for this. So I do have some notes, but, I'm just trying to stay focused on the screen as much as I can. But do have a lot of notes for this. So I wrote a lot of notes down. On the other hand, leaders, obviously, they lead. Remember, people can't always choose their manager. However, they will choose who they want to follow. So the difference, I would say, between a leader and a manager is a leader is someone who can invoke an emotional response in somebody by really, really harping on the passions of someone, harping on their vision. The first step to becoming a great leader is ultimately understanding that leadership is more than a position. It's a serious decision to be someone that's worth following. What do I mean by that? Being a good leader, it's going to involve developing a sense of emotional intelligence. Like I said, you really have to be able to invoke an emotional response in somebody. I think you would agree with that, right, man? Like you see people that are managers and they kind of just look like they kind of have a, sometimes maybe they have a tyrant type of like management style where they seem like they're in their tower,
like attitude, so to speak.
To do. They're not really like trying to really harp on the emotions of their teammates and really like invoke them like an emotional response to make them feel wanted, make them feel motivated. A leader, it's different. When you're a leader, this doesn't just have to be in the workplace, but among your friends. A leader is someone who can, has a sense of, compassion and empathy for other people. A lot of times, a manager is just, there's good managers too, but I'm just saying like someone who's not a great leader is going to struggle with communication, having a certain sense of compassion for other people. They will struggle with it ultimately. I think you would kind of agree with that, man, right? Like that would make a great leader, someone who understands emotional intelligence.
I would actually totally agree with that. I like how you also put it as a good, definitely some good wording there, emotional intelligence and evoking sort of like certain emotions in others. But here's the thing, like you said, not to be so much like a tyrant, be kind of a good leader that could get respect, but also is respected. And people never want to slack, even if you're dealing with somebody who maybe wants to slack around and, not do like what they're supposed to do and sort of like cheat a little or weasel the way out. They see you so much like in a respectful way. They're like, okay, I can't really do that. And it's like, it's the best thing to be a leader is when you kind of like can get people to do the work without staying in fear or be like, okay, if you don't do this, you're in trouble or yelling. It's about when you talk, you kind of like demand respect, but also it's like you talk with a certain way of like with kindness as well as like with the conviction. Now, here's the thing. People be like, well, when you're too nice and kind, yada, 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 they're not going to listen to you, this and that. It's true. But however, there's different types of leaders, like you said. And a leader it takes a leader to do all these things, but you got to be able to, understand, talk to the people that you're leading, whether it's your workers, your friends, your soldiers, whatever you call it, right? Even if you are a tyrant, we're not talking about, again, a leader and a tyrant, two different things. often in history, as we've seen it traditionally, seems like a lot of big time leaders have been tyrants or whatnot. But even the ones that have, I mean, it proven to be very effective in many ways. Although we might not agree with what they did, and it could have been, maybe they're bad leaders, like bad people, but they, they got the job done, in certain ways. And I don't want to get into too much into like, history and what I mean, the past or whatnot, or memory lane and all that. But it's been leaders, even in politics, have been good leaders, probably not great people, but have been very effective. Effective, bro. You gotta know the tricks of the trade, and leaders can do all that. And again, people tell you being a leader could sometimes be mean. You could be kind of like hard to deal with, a little bit of an asshole tyrant. Well, in fact, it could be the opposite. But in any event, people tell you that, the proper sort of like some of the proper steps are, again, leadership are taking responsibility, accountability, knowing how to talk to your coworkers, people you're working with, know how to sort of like infill, kind of like fill them with like with almost like with like a sense of discipline, inspiration, inspiring to do well without you necessarily scaring them or yelling at them or being too rough. And if you do that, I mean, at the same time, he's always willing to talk to people, like tell them, for example, behind the scenes, and listen, it's nothing personal. I'm only telling you because I want you to do good, because I actually want the best for you. I see a lot of potential in you. That it's an example of a leader trying to kind of like not only keep it cool, but keep his the people like kind of like making them being almost like leaders in their own ways. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if the main leader's not around, who's gonna take lead? The other guys. You know what I mean? Like whether there's a hierarchy or it's just like the dynamics of the group or of these of a organization or leadership or whatever the case may be, you got to know how to talk to your the workers, people you're working with. Whether you're the leader of you could be just the leader of a friends, maybe just like the leader of your little squad or whatever. Like you're kind of like the main guy and the big homie, whatever. Like kind of how me and you are in some circles, and then me and you and other guys they're like the big homie, and that's how it is. It's just like a guy that no one's really trolls. Sometimes it kind of naturally happens that way. But like you said, bro, you got to evoke kind of like almost like respect. Have the trust thing going on, and understand that like it's like a nice group of people, and you're the leader. But it's also ultimately about making people happy and having that balance. It's very important. People don't talk about that, but it's very important.
Agreed. Agreed. It definitely is, man. I like that you brought that up, like the communication aspect, man. Always understanding what everybody else needs. I feel like even in a friendship group, there's always somebody who takes that leadership role, right? Who always sets the plans, who does the thing. Here's the thing: like, you could be a leader, but are you a good leader? Are you someone who commands respect, someone who literally is respected by others? Or are you like the friend that's like you're just like being pushy and you're like, oh, let's do this, let's do that, and then they're like, you got the friends that are like behind their back, like, this guy, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. they like, I think an effective, a good leader, even in a friendship group, they always ask the ideas of others. Like, okay, like, what would you like to do? What would you like to do? And then it's a compromise. You know what I mean? Like, they always get the opinions of other people. You know what I mean? That's an effective leader. And even inside and outside the workplace, I think what ultimately, I think you would agree with this as well, what ultimately distinguishes a regular leader from an effective leader is the process of how they approach things. So let me give you a couple examples. A regular leader will set goals, right? It's fine and dandy. You can write and set goals, whatever you want to do. But an effective leader is going to come up with a unique vision. They're going to, that vision is going to be meaningful. It's going to inspire people. Like I said, emotional intelligence. Anybody can set a goal, write it down on paper. However, how are you going? What vision do you have that you can kind of make people kind of like they kind of see that and they're like, okay, I can relate to that. To
basically,
that vision,
right?
You know what I mean?
Push them to do the best work. You're saying almost like I mean, like you just said, bro, earlier. It sort of kind of invoked that the kind of like let's get it done at all costs, and let's kind of combine idea spirit, almost like that fighting spirit in a way. Because I mean, being at your job, bro, it's still kind of like a struggle, a fight, especially a job like you do work corporate world. I've done it too. It's not easy to go to the morning and open emails and doing all that work, and by 5 o'clock your head's spinning. You're like, oh shit, So
yeah, no, absolutely.
It's definitely, it's not like easy. It might seem easy to surface, but nothing's really easy, bro. And again, nothing's super complicated either. We make things more complicated than they gotta be, and a leader also could distinguish that. Like, all right, guys, we're going in a little direction. Let's step back a little. A leader knows when to stop, when to go forward, when to tell the guys, let's go on this. But like you said, bro, great point. You gotta bring ideas to people. No leader could do it all on his own. At this point, you're just a guy that has a subject. You're like some kind of like, I don't know, a general, or you're a tyrant, not even a general.
Yeah, that's why leaders are in the roles that they are. It's because not everybody. I feel like most people are born to be a leader in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's the family life, it's the friendship life, but not everybody is a leader. A lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that are very introverted. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like not everybody can be a leader, but there's a lot of people that maybe like are not leaders and they want to be a leader. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to take a leadership role. Although there are going to be some aspects of your life where you probably will have to when you're independent, you're living on your own, you're going to have to take a leadership role there, right? You know what I mean? Another example I'll give you, the difference between the process of a regular leader and an effective leader. I would say regular leaders say they're like, I'm optimistic about the future. Well, that's a great statement. I'm optimistic about the future. However, I would argue that an effective leader would know how to cultivate and bring forth that optimism in other people. Again, emotions, right? You know what I mean? I would say effective leaders are practical thinkers. They can go from visualization, which is like, you see something, to actualization, actually carrying that out. Easier said than done, but effective leaders I would say, can do that in people. They can invoke that response. They see the big picture as well as the small details in order to get there. So they see that roadmap. You know what I mean? I would also say, regular leaders, they focus on, getting commitment. Great leaders, effective leaders, they understand that in order to get that commitment, you're going to have to tap into the passion of other people, show them how and why following you is going to help move them towards their aspirations. And we're going to get to the challenges of leadership because not everybody is going to see your vision. They're not going to align with your goals. That's all right. I mean, it's how you approach the situation. Not everybody's going to agree with you. It's not possible. I know being a leader role, George, I know you've seen it yourself. You might be you might be a good leader. You have people that are like-minded, some people that maybe see different ways than you do, George, but at the end of the day, they still respect you. They're like, you know what? I get what you're saying, man. But then there are going to be people that are very difficult to work with. They're going to tell you, I don't see your vision. And I also I don't even want to see your perspective. I don't care to see it. They're stubborn. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. There's people that, for whatever reason, maybe they have something going on in their life where they're not happy with their own life, that, they're stubborn. I think that people that are successful, they always can try to at least see the other person's perspective. Even if you go through it and you're like, okay, that's not what I see. I don't understand how you're seeing that, but that's okay. Like, there's some people though that might just not like you. They're going to be like, hey, I don't care what your opinion is. But how you communicate to them, how you handle the situation, that shows what type of leader you are. We're going to get to that. But I'm sure you can kind of see that. But there's questions you can ask yourself, you know what I mean? But next we'll I'm sure you probably understand that as well. I would say,
I do. I think
we're all leaders in some way. What's your take on why, just a brief statement, why do you think leadership's important? Would you say, just from your personal experience?
Okay, that's a good one. I would say leadership's important because you need to in the setting of people, and says a lot of people, and no one knows a leader. It kind of needs to be a certain organization. You need somebody to lead because it's not only is important, but it's essential. I think it's you need somebody to kind of dictate a little bit how things are going, and not necessarily be like I said, like a tyrant or dictator, but kind of understand what the need is for everybody else. And we could be more than one leader. But here's the thing too: if you are the leader in a group and it's 5 people, guess what? A real effective leader and a clever leader, a smart leader. Because remember, there's different types of leaders. There's different levels to this too. I mean, if you even want to talk about it, but an effective leader, bro, will get the perspective of everybody else and do what's kind of right for the group, not so much for himself. Even if his idea might exceed that a little, you understand and sort of balance it out, and it's everybody's input, look at the greater cause, the greater good of a whole group, and then kind of make the decision from there. I've talked about leadership, and I've actually studied this in college in a course I had called Group Dynamics. It was I remember, so I think I told you back in 2013 when I was in college, Holy Family, I switched my major from psychology, business psychology, or psychology for business to communications and criminal justice, right? Before I did that, one of the classes was, in fact, Group Dynamics. And funny thing is, me and the professor was still cool to this day. She's a great professor, really nice lady. And it's funny because me, her, and another student had dinner about in August. So not long ago, right? And we kind of were catching up a little. So in that class, we learned a lot about leadership. And obviously, Group Dynamics, what does it mean to you? Group Dynamics, it's got a lot to do with leadership, especially in the work sort of place. And it tells you how to be effective and how to be more productive within a group leadership or within in a group setting. So one of the things actually was birds of the same feather flock together, right? And people always use that, sometimes use it in a negative way. It doesn't have to be negative way. It could be in a very positive way. If we're all sort of like birds of the same feather and we all minded, yeah, we're gonna be together because it goes back to the concept of real recognize real, right? Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Right. So if real recognize real, that means that most of real dudes or real people stay together, especially people, the terms saying they're real, you know what I mean? Oh, he's a real, a real
Yeah,
ninja.
he's a real one. Like
A
yeah.
real one, right? Well, real ninjas hang out together, right? Same thing with group dynamics, which is why again, it's not always a bad, saying that like birds of the same feather flock together. Yeah, because a lot of times it might be like-minded and trying to do the same thing, and people sometimes, just unfortunately are not about anything positive. Sometimes it just happens to be that they stay together, which is why we get these sayings, right? So in a group role, bro, again, it's got to be a leader is essential, but it can also be two leaders, by the way. That don't mean that they're more on the other people are any least because they're after them. It just means that like there's two people that are probably maybe better equipped for the situation, for the environment we're talking about. Maybe it's in a computer work setting. Maybe it's in a gym workplace, or maybe just outside. And it's like two friends that have been around longer, and they organize a trip, and they're the kind of leaders of a trip because they're paid for it. And everybody else kind of like reports to them, gives them their money, and they're all kind of like, all right, guys, we're gonna have a big trip. We're going to Cancun, you know. Yeah, they're the leaders, but guess what? Now everybody else kind of paid off too. So now it's their job to include everybody and make it like kind of like uh, effective. But in any sense, will be a fun trip because if you're going on a trip, in order to have like a productive, fun, exciting trip is to do everything. So leaders will be the ones to be like, okay, guys, let's get a time schedule. Remember, organization. It's the leaders that have to do that. Don't mean that a guy that's not the leader can't do that, but he kind of like goes, with this. You know what I mean? That most of the time, it's the leaders, that kind of like, set it up and ask other people, you guys want to do this, and get the idea. And me personally, when I've been like the leader in the setting, I always be like, okay, who wants to do this? And I see like a raise of hands. That's one way to do it. All right, let's go. Let's go to the brewery. All right, let's go to AC, play some crabs at the casino, play some blackjack. All right, what are we looking like? 4 against 2. Well, I guess we're going to AC now. You know what I mean? It could be that way. It could be one of the things that we don't like, bro. It's when in a group of people and no one wants to do anything. Everybody else has different ideas. They're like, all right, guys, come on, let's set together, and let's let's set something up. You know what I mean? Let's be on the same page. It's very important, bro. I never be want to change plans last second and just go like I have a plan and I'm the one that had the plan. Everybody else to do something different. Like, let's do this now. Like, let's kind of stick with the original plan. Let's get everybody to agree. And like you say yourself, sometimes people be like, "What you want to do? What you want to do?" Oh, so you asking me to do? I guess I'm the leader then. In that case, we'll go here. Are you okay with that? I always ask, bro. I always make sure everybody's in the same because I don't want to impose nothing on nobody. If they don't want to go somewhere, do something, or don't feel like this is a good idea, but it's my job as the leader, if I'm the leader, to present it, to ask, all right, we're going to do this. How should we do this? Let's approach. I think being a leader is also got to do with approaching situations and understanding it and not jumping, being calculated. That's a good word to kind of associate with leadership. You can't really be a great leader if you never did that calculated. You kind of like just make plans on, on a fly, or you don't know how to organize things and you don't have ideas. Because it comes with experience too, bro. I mean, honestly, leadership can come a little bit with experience. And both of us have a little experience in that, We might not be big time leaders, but we lead this podcast. I mean, when we're here, we have 5 people here. We're the co-hosts, which aka the leaders. So
I agree. I agree, man. And the birds of a feather flock. The birds of a feather flock together. Quote. I like that, man. Hey, no, I mean you're right though, because like a lot of people, you're gonna hang around with people that have kind of similar visions as you, right? What's the other quote? You know what I mean? You are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with.
Bingo.
Even if and here's the thing: if someone doesn't represent, maybe they represent negative qualities. This has a little bit to do with leadership. Being able to take a step back and to walk like, maybe you're friends with someone and that's okay. That maybe you grow in a different direction. If you don't have the same vision as you, you know what I mean? You are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with, right? So even if you don't think a certain way, if you continue to hang out with that same person,
you'll get there
a lot. That's going to rub off on you. Your attitude towards with them is going to rub off on them a little bit. Because it's ultimately what you become. You know what I mean? So a leader, if they're not
who you associate with.
Yeah. And if you're not, I mean, a leadership kind of goes into that, right? Because if you don't like what their vision is, or like where they're headed and what their direction is, a leadership role, a leader is going to be able to walk away from the situation. They're going to be able to, say like, hey, it was a great run, a great friendship. Like we can keep in touch here and there, but you're not going to spend all your time with that person. You know what I mean? I definitely agree. But I do want to say that I think it is good to have people that have different visions inside your group too. As long as it's not becoming detrimental to you and ultimately halting you from your vision, that's okay, I think, because if you have people that have different views, that's actually good. You can see different perspectives and see where other people are coming from. Like, I mean, hey man, we have a good vision here, like, between me and you, man. But we each have different ideas too. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, we're not always agreeing on everything. But that's good. We
Right.
sit behind the scenes and we talk about it. You know what I mean? That's how leaders act, though. Leaders, they sit
Exactly.
down, they talk about it. It's like, okay, well, let me understand a little bit more, like, where you're coming from with this. And then you said the same thing to me. That's how an effective team, how an effective leader works. And that's not just in the workplace. See, that's outside the workplace. I'm going to tell you a little bit, like, why I think leadership's important. I know I asked you the question.
Right. That's okay.
Ultimately, I feel like we're all leaders in some way, right? So whether you're a parent in a family, you're, like I said, you're captain in a team, maybe you're heading a department, running a corporation or a division, you're going to need to lead, right? Somebody's going to have to be the leader, because if everybody's just running around like chickens with their head cut off, there's no end result.
Disorganization, but that's how things ruin themselves. Nothing gets done that way.
Yeah, whether it's a corporation or a team or a family, if nobody takes the leadership role inside the family, the family will probably be unstable, fall apart. Somebody needs to be the leader. Somebody's going to have to take the role, no matter what it is. If you want your family, your team, your corporation, whatever it is, your podcast, to follow for a very long time, you're going to have to lead thoughtfully. You're going to have to be the leader that the other people or the other person needs. You know what I mean? In case they think, I feel like it's just, you got to ask the question. It's not, am I a leader, right? It's not even, am I a great leader? I would ultimately try to tell you that it's, am I being the best leader possible for the situation at hand? I think that's pretty deep. That's a way to think about it. Not am I a leader, not am I a great leader, am I being the best leader for the situation that's in front of me? And that's a key question you'll have to ask yourself. In order, you're going to have to develop a lot of techniques in order to become a great leader, but we're going to go through them. But ultimately, I think leadership is very important, because, like I said, somebody will have to be a leader. If there's nobody to lead, then, an organization, your family, a team, it will crumble. I think you can agree with that, man.
I would definitely agree with that. We just said it, bro. The foundation, bro, it's like good leadership, but it comes from the person. Again, when we talk about leader, we can also say leaders with an S, by the way. It doesn't have to simply be, because the topic is leadership. It doesn't have to be one leader, but if we're talking about solo leader, then yeah. But every solo leader, guess what, bro? Every leader's got like a, I mean, how can I say it? Like, and without sounding like too much like on some presidential type shit, but like, how there's a cabinet. Every leader got like a counselor or somebody, that they, like get ideas from, a close associate who's like maybe like a co-leader, a friend, somebody, like, huh?
A mentor.
A mentor, right. Somebody that like say like, all right, say you're the leader, right? And it's us, and it's like 7 of us, me, you, and like a bunch of the people, and you're the leader. You might be the leader, but say like me, I'm like almost like what I been saying, like a, not like a second in command, but like if you're not the leader, it's me, right? And then we might have a third person, like say like Tom Vaughn or something like that. Shout out to Tom, or Marius, something like that. Our boy Marius. Maybe he's at the council, so he's not the leader, but he's behind the scenes, and he tells you like when we need some, because even leaders need like sometimes advice. He comes and tells us, okay, guys, maybe you could do this. He's almost like an inputter, like somebody gives you input, ideas, and somebody important within the leader role. And maybe like in an organization, he has a title too. Like, I don't know. He's like in the mafia days, they have like a consigliere, a council, and then there's like the capo criminale. We're talking about mob shit now, but what I'm trying to say though. And then you have like the Godfather, Well, it's a certain hierarchy, bro. But you always have like a family consigliere, family attorney, or lawyer, because all the big families like that in leadership roles have kind of leaders. Same thing with companies, promotions, organizations, or just any kind of program organization you're part of. You know what I mean? Affiliation you might have with somebody, some kind of organization. You're always ultimately there's always a leader there, and it's always like a person that like helps the leader, and there's a lot that goes behind the door. So here's the thing, bro. Leaders without their like the people that they kind of lead, they're their helpers, their friends, the people that they're with them are kind of like nothing. It's like being a king with no subjects. I mean, who are you?
Right.
You got. I mean, you have to think about it that way, bro. And also in terms of mentors, and we talk about that. And again, we'll have some of our friends and mentors come back here sooner than later on the podcast. But they're kind of like leaders in a way, but at the same time, they're like influencers. They're creators, but they're consultants. I mean, that is a title they have. I mean, like Jay and our friends and all, they're consultants.
People that went through like certain trials and tribulations.
Yeah, like counselors almost.
A lot of times a mentor is usually older, right? They've gone through some obstacles. They've gone through some trials and tribulations. They can help help you understand. You know what I mean? They can help lead you so you don't make some of the same mistakes that they made. I would say personally, James McCormick, he was on here before. You know, he's been a great mentor to me.
Yeah.
I would say for you, you'd probably say like what you would probably see Dan Carnegie, right, as a mentor to you.
A couple.
Way,
I
right?
mean, but yeah, Dan Carnegie, Dan, Coach Dan, shout out Dan, Manny, Coach Bill, a couple other guys that I've met throughout the life. I'm just thinking of other people that I might know that are, definitely some, people out there. You might not know some of them, but I definitely got a couple like mentors. Manny's another one of those. Yeah, everybody kind of needs a mentor. I mean, even James, honestly, at this point, James, I consider like a mentor in a way because I mean, he always, I met him through you, but he always like got something positive to bring, and he does so much, and he's a very inspirational guy. And he's also doing very well. So I mean, and then even at the job, I mean, people there are a lot of like, almost like influencers, people that are doing really well for themselves. And whether they're my official, unofficial mentor, I still consider my mentors. People in the martial arts world. I've done martial arts for many years now, and I've coached people, I've trained with fighters, martial arts, professional people, and all that, and a lot of big people, and a lot of these people are leaders to me, but leaders in life. Honestly, ultimately, bro, we're leaders of our own path. It's kind of a deeper, simple but deep way to look at it. You're leader of your own life because you lead life. You live, but you just don't live. You lead a certain life. Don't it say the life you lead? Because you're leading life. You're living, yeah, but if you guys live, I'm alive, I'm just living, doing nothing, you're leading life, you're doing things, you're becoming some kind of leader. So ultimately, we're kind of like leaders in a way. It's just that in certain scenarios, in dynamics of the group, you might be the leader of a few people, and in some other situations, you might not be. I've been a leader in the past, and I also haven't been a leader. I've been just an important figure there, or something like that. So, and again, me and you, it's safe to say that, all fairness, we both have been leaders in some kind of way, not just in life, but I mean, whether we're friends, at the job, in some places, in organizations. I mean, I was teaching class. My one sensei, he wasn't around. The second guy, second black belt, he was like the senior student, wasn't there. I was considered a senpai, which means Japanese senior student. I was a leader. I was doing kids classes, adult classes, women class, and all that stuff. I was teaching. Even here, when I was the co-host and I was the main host here, like the other week, for example, or previous weeks when you were in there, you say I was kind of a leader. When it's us two, it's kind of like a mutual thing. When it's like us two and somebody else, it's like 1, 2, 3. You have like a third person. But in that situation, or when we like the 5 people for the anniversary, the 1-year mark, we have about 6 people on deck. So I mean, at that point, we were kind of like the 2 leaders, but we were very fair, and we had a great episode because of that. The dynamics of what we brought in, Dan, Manny, a lot of great guys, that we had on board that day, particular night. So
absolutely, man. Manny's very knowledgeable, man. I know.
Definitely.
So some of your mentors, I know some of them I don't know. I just want to take a couple minutes, just a couple seconds to just address some of the comments. Candace, what's going on? I saw you. She said, "Hey, hey, Candace, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support." My man Bryce Simmons, he said, "Solid info, gents." Thanks, Bryce. Appreciate the support,
we'll have
man.
Bryce.
Appreciate you watching, man. We'll have to get you on soon, man, for sure.
It will happen, bro. Little by little.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, we have 11 people tuning in right now, so appreciate the support.
That's good. Somebody said hi. I'm not sure who that is. Facebook user.
Oh, that was Candace. That was Candace.
At the bottom as well. Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate the support, guys.
Okay.
As always,
Albert, thanks. It says it's me. It says it's you, but it's actually thanks. Much love.
Yeah.
So much love to you as well. Yeah, we appreciate you guys watching, man. And
that's why we do it.
Right. We do it for you guys for sure, man. We do it for us too, but definitely you guys. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible because we don't want to just talk for rants for nothing and no one is hearing it or just like listen on voice. And then speaking of that, I actually did do that a few weeks ago when I did the episode with Charles. I ended up being a little bit on my own. So I had to read some comments a little bit, and people are tuning in, some emails and in DMs. I gotta tell you, bro, that the episode was a little tough, but I don't mind doing it on my own as long as somebody's there, or maybe if people like eventually get some callers in and all that, it'll be a little more interaction and all that. But yeah, I did on my own, and that's what I was doing, reading some DMs, some personal messages, and even emails. People that like people got questions, of course, whether it's about leadership stuff, about how we start a podcast, about what we're doing next, about my upcoming fights, about what you're doing, where you at, like, oh, where's Steve at, or where's your boy, those that don't know you that well, where's the guy you do the podcast, the boy Steve at? Oh, he's in DR, he's just chilling, or he's taking some time off because he's got a lot going on with his other business, explain things. And that episode was cool, even though it was on my own, and it gets a little drag in a way, and especially if you're not getting no calls. But it was cool because I was reading some emails, and again, I had to take charge. It was like almost I was the leader on my own ship, and it was just me at that point. Charles had to leave a little early because that's how it is. It was just he couldn't do the whole thing. He'll come back though. I spoke to Charles last night at the gym. Actually, he liked it a lot. He's actually willing to come back. So we'll get Charles Deshelle to get him back there.
Yeah, and that sometimes is just that definitely be cool. we'll obviously have a really big guest coming on in a few weeks, but we'll save that for another announcement. But yeah, no, man, right into the leadership role there, though. You know what I mean? Like, your guy dropped off, but then you had to flip everything, right? Because then like change came forward. So you're like, okay, how can I lead this podcast still? And
Exactly.
sometimes things don't always work like you think they're gonna work. You know what I mean? That's an obstacle, and that's something you had to work around. But just continuing the episode is good though, because even if people weren't tuning in live, people can watch that later on. And if it's a knowledgeable episode, they'll be like, okay, I can go back and I can watch that.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? They can gain some type of knowledge from it, which I think it's good, man. It taught leadership. You know what I mean? They can gain some type of knowledge from watching that later on, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to break down just some of the crucial characteristics that I personally believe. You can see if you agree with them. You need in order to take yourself from a regular leader to an effective leader. I think being a good listener. So number one, like we already talked, being able to listen to your team, your friends, your family, get everybody's concerns, and be able to listen and kind of come together like a cohesive unit. Listening is very important. It's important in relationships as well.
Yes.
Being able to communicate effectively, but also listen.
Also, real quick, bro, without cutting you off real quick, I'll let you finish in a second, but I can also add, and then again, it's not necessarily about relationship, guys. It's not the kind of episode, but we can kind of, everything kind of, again, leading, because you're going to be the leader in a relationship, you and your woman, or whatever the case, your woman and you, also communication, also understanding. I think understanding and having a certain, being an understanding person that can understand people's passion, pains, ideas, even failures, and not judge. So being not judgmental, you just say communication and understanding. I think understanding goes hand to hand with everything when it comes to communication. It's not just communication. Yeah. And you know what? Real quick, I got this. Let's look at somebody's story. This girl posted a story in IG saying that I used to think that communication was everything in relationships is understanding. And people always write all kinds of quotes, and sometimes you skim through them. But I looked at it, I was like, so I kind of like this. So I checked out. I looked where she got it from, and it was an IG, and it was actually very interesting. And I read a little about it. So I think communication, because you can communicate, but you got to be able to understand it too. It's got to make sense, because communication is great, but if you're just communicating things that are not necessarily true, or it's been already told and it's like nothing new there, you're like, okay, well, I heard it before. It's got to be an understanding. Communication is great altogether, even if it's been said before, but it's also ultimately to reach a person and understand, because you can talk what you want. If you're not reaching them, you're like, okay, I'm wasting time. Remember, we spoke about this earlier in the year. Words are important, bro. Spells. I don't want to waste words no more. 2021, we're not wasting words. 2022, we're not wasting words. We're not wasting breaths. Nothing. We're just doing everything for a reason. This podcast for a reason, so they can understand what we're saying, and we're trying to give them some great content, great tips. So I think understanding, bro, goes well with communication, but communication is definitely key. So yeah. So go ahead, continue.
Very, very key. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Like we said, understanding, and then like you kind of said, invoking like some type of compassion, emotional response. Like we always say, man, emotional intelligence, it takes you from the next step of regular leader to you need to be able to have emotional intelligence. Agreed, man. Understanding, very, very important. I would say another characteristic is constant, like people who are effective leaders are constant learners. Like I said, understanding, being able to, just because somebody has a different perspective doesn't mean you can't learn from them. Sit down and be like, okay, where is your point of view like coming from? Like where's like, try to understand what someone's saying, try to understand their perspective, because sometimes you might be able to learn something just from them. Like understanding, you might be able to learn something from somebody else. Cultivating a growth mindset is crucial to being an effective leader, in my personal opinion.
I think so too, bro. I think you got to be open-minded, and that kind of to being open-minded, because as a leader, you should always be open-minded, bro. Look at some of the great leaders, whether we're looking at entertainment or in the world. I mean, everybody from like Einstein to like freaking Napoleon, you can say what you want, but I mean, he was an effective leader. And again, that's what I talked about earlier, that you can still be a great leader, but in a sort of like negative agendas, for like a negative outcome or whatever, call it. I mean, look at, I had to use this example, but I mean, I think we kind of have to, there's hard to mention some big names. And again, we'll talk about some favorite leaders. Not that he's anybody I look up to anything, but I mean, fucking Adolf Hitler, ended up being a good leader, but although he used a lot of tricks, he used psychological tricks. He was a good speaker, so speak for a crowd. He get the crowd to react and rejoice, and he got the whole nation to support him, to back him up, and then damn near took over the world. Nazi that he was, a crazy motherfucker. But I mean, I'm just saying, because a lot of intelligent leaders are also clever, and again, but not clever like, because I mean, you can definitely, sure, you can brainwash people. I mean, that's it's nothing that I support, but I mean, it is, I guess, a skill. Some people have narcissists and all that. However, a real leader doesn't have to do all that. You don't got to trick people. You don't got to treat the wisdom. All you got to do is let them open their eyes and hit something so deep. Sometimes things that a leader can say, especially a good leader is really, very, sort of like up there, very experienced, very good, very intelligent. A leader can say something. He also very deep and has got a lot of wisdom, which is a lot of years of knowledge and years of experience. A leader might say something that young guys like us, he could go over our head, like, what did he say? And then you got to slow down to hear it again. Oh, that's what he meant. And you might understand that like a year later. You ever notice how you watch good movies, bro, about a leader, about a king, about any good ass movie, right? That you watch, and then you watch it years later as an adult now, right? You're like, wow, I never knew what that line meant. Really, now you fully understand it because now you're not the 15-year-old kid anymore. Now you're 29. You know.
Yeah, your sense of intelligence, your sense of understanding. It's as you get older, obviously, you start to understand things a little bit more deeper. Nah, I can't tell you how many movies I've watched when I was younger, and then I watch them when I'm older, and
you understand it way better.
The meaning, you're like, oh, okay, I didn't see that. Or you could watch a movie like 15 times when you're a kid, and then you see it for the 16th time when you're an adult, and you're like,
yeah,
oh
exactly.
wow, I didn't see that. Nah, agreed, yeah. Man. So
even a song. Like a line of a song, a good song.
Yeah, the lyric.
Sometimes even though the lyric, you thought it was a different word, then like, oh, he meant this, and then you understand, you're like, wow, there's the meaning behind. That's why, a lot of the people think that older movies and songs are great because of the message. It's all about message, you know what I mean? Listen, bro, no movies die with no purpose. I mean, let's be real. There's movies that are just for entertainment values only, but there's always a small purpose because most directors and scriptwriters want you to feel something. That's how life works. But even us, being that we're podcast and influencer now, we're not doing this for nothing. We want people to understand what leadership is. Maybe after this, there'll be someone enlightened. We don't claim to know the answers, but we have some stuff, small things, that we can give you guys details. Don't we say, bro, tune in for a great episode of Insights? That's what we can give you guys. I mean, we give you a lot of talk and all that, but it's ultimately the insights and things you guys can take. Be like, okay, you know what? Solid info, and people are already responding, saying that, they like what they're seeing right now. So, I mean, I guess, we're right.
To be honest, we do this to offer free value. All we ask is obviously, some support, thumbs up, like whatever,
likes,
to help the algorithms and stuff. That's it. You know what I mean? Because we just come on here and ultimately just our ultimate vision is just to offer you guys value. That's the whole point. And yeah, sometimes entertainment. We do sports episodes, but on the personal development episodes, it's mainly to offer value. And I think that's actually my next point. This is one of the biggest ones. I think the characteristic of an effective leader is to be service driven. What I mean by that, effective leaders are able to influence people, help them achieve what they want, and they don't ask for anything in return. Like, you're literally adding value. I think people that always have a hidden agenda, that are always like they want something behind the scenes, I get it that you're trying to look out for yourself, but here's the issue. When you just go into something offering value, I feel like you get something in return no matter what, because you're going into something, you're offering value. You're not asking for anything in return. People see that and they're like, wow, this person is bringing me value. I feel like everything comes full circle at the end of the day. Go in being service driven. And one of my other points, be an effective leader is accountable. They don't make excuses. So that's the thing. Like,
yeah,
as I got older, I was younger a little bit, you make excuses for things that happen in your life. Like, I'm not here, I'm not there. You start to blame other people. You start to blame outside circumstances. At the end of the day, an effective leader is going to take accountability for his actions or her actions to leading their team, their family, their, whatever, to success. At the end of the day, you have to be accountable. I can't stress that enough. If you're one of those people that are constantly blaming other people or other circumstances, you need to stop it now if you want to be a great leader.
Yeah.
Because effective leaders, they don't do that. In my opinion, it's just being, you're being sour about a situation. And it's understandable to get upset, in the heat of a moment, but you got to calm down. You got to start to try to think through the process and be like, okay, what could I have done better? And ask yourself those questions. Accountability, it's so critical.
It's so critical, bro. It's so crucial. I'm glad you already brought that up.
Stay accountable, live your life on purpose. Like my man Bryce said in the comments below, live with a purpose on purpose. That's a great point, Bryce.
Great purpose. Yeah, I like that. Like the saying says, bro, stand for something or fall for anything. Live for something, live the right way, live, like for what you got to live for something, or does die for nothing. I mean, and no one's die for nothing. I mean, we all have a time here on earth. We got to do what we got to do. But at the same time, bro, a great leader, bro, lives beyond a good legacy, and he puts the people on. I mean, let's see. All right, real quick. For example, like, and again, I don't want to use entertainment music, but sometimes that's how you see things. And we can, look out there. Plenty of great actors, have put a lot of friends on. I mean, from like, let's see, let me throw some names out there, like Keanu Reeves to like a Brad Pitt or something like that. You know what I mean? To like Gerard Butler, even to our man 50 Cent. I mean, look how many good shows he has. I was just watching the BMF show yesterday. Fell asleep on episode 2. I've watched up to 3 so far, so I am a little caught up. But it's a good show about the BMF brothers, Black Mafia family. And I mean, look at 50, for example, putting all his friends on and create some great shows and stars. I mean, those are some good shows. They might not be the best of all time, but they're definitely up there. Even though it's about is obviously the gangster shows about about mafia shit and and gang stuff and all that. You know what I mean? But it's a good show. It's a true story, and it's about two brothers that became leaders again of the underworld and are doing their thing. And they're promoting it well on TV. It's a good show, just like Power and previous shows. But you see what I'm saying, bro? A good leader knows how to create opportunities. Good leaders create jobs. Good leaders don't take excuses or days off. Now, if it's an excuse, if it's a good reason, you explaining it, a good leader defends people because it's like a coach, bro. A coach is a leader, yes? A football coach. You don't see a coach. I mean, you do see, I guess, a coach, but real coaches don't throw their players under the bus. They don't say a bunch of bullshit unless the player really fucked up, right? All that locker room snitching, all that's sucker shit to me, bro. A real leader, and we'll talk about it with you know who, you know what I mean? Big man, Tank, he's gonna come up, but keep it lower now. But it's like, it's just like it comes down to something, bro. Ability's got to be there, bro. And even me, I've been a person in the past. I made some excuses here and there when I was younger, but you look at yourself and be like, yo, I really should have done that. I really should be man up more because people that depend on me. You cannot have disappointing behavior. People be like, oh wow, I can't believe George or Steve did that. I mean, are you serious? They're not the type to do that. You have a certain thing to carry now. I mean, it is what it is, but it's a lot of responsibility too, but also an image. Leaders have a good image because it's what separates a good leader, an effective leader from a leader from maybe like a lousy leader, if you want to call it that. But ultimately, no leader is really lousy because at the end of the day, you're still somewhat to be in a position. But leaders can get lazy too, bro. Don't get caught up in your own hype too. Oh, you're a good leader, you're a good boss, you're good this, you're good that.
Yeah,
No.
I'll counter that by saying maybe they were put in a specific position. Sorry to cut you off there, man.
Go ahead.
I would say that sometimes maybe someone was a great leader at one point, which is why they got put into the position to be a leader. But sometimes people, they get a power boost and then they change how they were and they become tyrant like. And that's the thing. They changed what they were doing so effectively. And not all change is bad, but sometimes we start
it can be, not always.
We start to get certain ego, certain way, and when you start to look at people below you. I mean, I know you're the leader, but you should still try to understand that you were not always in a leader position. You know what I mean? So, to be honest, like you need to eat a slice of, how do they say it? Eat a slice of humble pie. Try to understand. Try to understand the people that you're leading, that you're managing, and in my opinion, tyrant like bosses, it's never effective because you might short term get the work done, but people will not respect you. There's nobody respects a tyrant. I mean, let's be real. You're not commanding.
They'll fear respect. You.
They might fear you, but fear and being respected are completely different things.
Totally different things. Right. Fear, and I know it goes back to the Bronx Tale. Which one's better? Fear, respect, fear less longer.
Great movie.
Right, amazing movie, by the way. If you haven't watched it, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe if you're born after 2003, maybe you haven't watched it, but you're 17 now. You should definitely get on and watch that movie.
After this episode, you got to pop it on if you haven't already seen it.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Goodfellas, I'm gonna talk to you about behind the scenes about that stuff too, bro. Because I gotta tell you some stories. But no, everything's good though. I just don't do it on live now. But no, to go back to that, right? So fear and respect. I mean. Again, respect, bro. People say that respect can fade away. Well, people that respect you again, because a lot of people respect you and they might not respect you after a while. But here's the thing: you make yourself be respected how much you do and what you put out there. And if people are not respecting you and all that, that's fine. It's your job to kind of do your thing and still be you. They're gonna respect you. Now, if they don't respect you, that's on them. I don't care to have the respect of a person who's just a lousy person. You know what I mean? A weasel or a liar, or a guy doesn't want to wants to cut corners, and a cheater or a lazy person. And they're like, "Well, I don't respect this person." Well, you know what? It's coming from you. It doesn't matter. Get respect from people that are worth it. If you get like your mentor respect, mentors or people that really you look up to, or even people that you don't know, but they're up there, like I said, real ones, stand up people, then okay, you're cool, bro. I don't give a shit if people that like I don't care for, don't give a fuck about, respect me or not. I mean, and guess what? Half the time they will because they'll see the thing, and a lot of people respect also, gives you the position where you respect them, but people like don't like you, like, man, I wish I had that. Look at this fucking guy, Steven George, got a little podcast. I should be doing all that, There's a lot of hate and jealousy too, bro. The hate is real, bro. Like Moneybagg Yo said, one of my favorite rappers right now, Moneybagg Yo, great rapper, one of the newer guys. He says, the hate is, he said, the love is fake, the hate is real. The hate is real, bro, and it's really intense. The love, unfortunately, seems to die out, and it's really few people out there. But also, I don't like to believe that, like, the whole saying, there's good people in the world. There's good people in the world, bro. I don't like to go by the thing that, like, there's no more good people left. People only say that because they're being hurt and frustrated. There's good people left. You just got to find them and know who's who, and don't lower your guard. Understand, get to know people really well. Don't fall for the bullshit,
Agreed. Yeah, because they've been surrounded by people who have let them down constantly.
Negative
So
people or people exactly condescending people that maybe are just really negative and I mean, like look, bro, everybody fucks up. We all have our own agenda and the way we do things, how we do, bro. Even me and you, we're different, but we have a common goal in many ways. More than one actually. You know what I mean?
agreed, man. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Nate, I'm reading some other comments down here before I go in. I'm gonna talk about some challenges about leadership because I know I said I would talk some about the challenges. Seeing Nate. What's up, Nate? Thanks for the support, man, as always. What's up, Bull? Hope all is well. Yeah, the best leader is a servant leader, someone who would do anything they ask you to do. That's a great point. So this is actually my former manager at Lowe's. Honestly, arguably the best manager I've ever had. My main
Oh, yeah,
man
you're saying,
Todd.
yeah. Oh
My main
yeah,
man
I know
Todd.
you're talking about.
Todd was my manager at Lowe's
Bro.
when I worked overnights. I'm not sure if you met Todd George.
No, I
At
never met him, but I know you're talking about because he was supporting us from the beginning. We got to bring him
yeah,
in one day on the show.
yeah. We'll get him on. We'll get him on. But Todd, great point, man. You were honestly one of the best managers I ever had, man. And this is, you know what, this actually goes very, very well. That Todd was actually watching and tuning in. Anybody like my former manager, Todd Gardner, honestly, Todd, you were a great leader. I will say, like, one of the best leaders I've ever seen because literally we just worked at Lowe's, but Todd could command respect. Todd could honestly lead a team. And he was like, honestly, out of all the managers, I worked there for 6 years. Out of all the managers I had, and out of all like people I worked with throughout my 6 years there, they would all say like Todd could really just command respect in a room just by being very understanding to the employees. When something wasn't going right, like he would get a team meeting. We'd all meet. Todd really, I will say, he knew how to invoke. He had great emotional intelligence because Todd really knew how to motivate his employees. He really, really did. Todd, you were great at that, man. You were great. And honestly, I learned a lot about leadership just from the discussions that we'd have, at work or outside of work, whatever the case may be. I learned a lot from you, man. So props to you. This actually goes perfect with this episode because Todd was and is a great leader. Learned a lot from you, man. So appreciate the support, man. Appreciate you tuning in. My guy.
Definitely, we appreciate that. And here's the thing, bro. I'm glad you brought that up because, again, having been in a place where I see a lot of leaders. Again, I've been the leader. I've been the leader's pet, best friend, whatever, second in command, senior student, whatever, even the teacher's pet, I guess. I mean, one of my jobs when I did my internship was actually to work for there in student engagement, Holy Family, and see again how people lead the school. Whether it's like the student government body, they have all leaders. Whether it's class president, in high school, it's like a class president. I've been there close to those people. I'm still friends to this day with a lot of them. So yeah, to be a good leader, bro, you got to be loved. At the end of the day, respect. The respect is great. Love is great too. It comes down to basically like doing as others like, but at the same time having others also look at your view really well. In other words, imagine having like a boss where like all the people at the job are like, he's like the boss leader. Yo, we like this guy. This guy such and such. He's the best one. And then there's always like the boss. People are like they respect him a little, but they're like, yeah, he doesn't see it that way. He doesn't really, take the side of the employees a little bit. Because I mean, there's some places where they don't really look up for the employees. There's places that look up for the employees a lot. And at my job, it's even like that. One of my jobs is like that right now. There's bosses that are more for the job, and they still respect you and help you, but they don't really, see interactions much. And there's bosses that are more for you, and they appreciate you even calling back out, or like if they ask you to come in, be like, I can't do it. They'll be like, I appreciate you reaching back. There's always that, again, communication, understanding, same page, communicate on time. Miscommunication, bro, and not communicating is probably the worst thing. But honestly, there's a lot of bad things that can happen in group situations. They can ruin things, Again, getting too much in your own head, thinking you're doing too good, having a group discussion, and then the group is doing so well, and you as a leader show to the group, guys, keep your feet on the ground. Everybody starts thinking they're too good now. You go on a vacation, come back, nothing's done. Everything falls apart. Things can unravel really quickly, bro. They can unravel. I want to use that word really quickly. It's really important to keep things, like a chain of command, like a solid group, a solid organization, a solid company, whether it's a job or not a job, or whether it's, an organization or something you're part of or anything you're part of. Because at the end of the day, bro, it's not going to be a leader because you're going to be part of anything you're part of. It's probably much a leader. Whether you're part of a basketball team, whether you're doing a fundraiser with a couple of friends and you're like the main guy that's organizing it, whether we got this podcast, we say we're the two of us. It's only two of us right now, and we have people to help us a little, but we don't have enough people behind the scenes. But eventually, we probably will.
Yeah.
Like our version of Jamie, Google this. Yo, Jamie, do this. I tell him or her do something, they do it. Somebody that can help us. A presenter, somebody can write our social media. And as we grow, bro, and possibly, hopefully, get some monetary, get some money, and get some things going on, we can do that. I mean, it's nothing wrong. This is part of growth. a leader knows how growth works, and a leader knows how to keep the team. You can dream big and have
Yeah.
goals, but also keep your feet on the ground. Don't go too much, don't fly too much with no wings. And now you're like, oh, you don't work that way because people can rush to do things, and that's how things can fall apart. So it's essential that a leader understands things, tells you don't get too, don't get too comfortable, don't get too used to, running the things or thinking it's gonna be sweet because things will get tough. We'll get hit with like a bad month. Anything for business, bro, it's always good to stay hungry. It's never good to thinking, yo, I ate a lot, or I'm good.
Always want more. It's not
Want
greedy,
more.
but always want more for yourself and for the people that you're helping to lead. I would say. I know we're like a little over the hour at this point. I do want to. I have some
10 minutes.
challenges. I have some challenges I want to get to. I have like 5 or 6, but I think I'm just going to go over the 2 most important because we are a little crunched for time here. So we talked about all the good things about being a leader, the benefits, how to get there, the tips to become a good leader, what characteristics are of effective leaders. But we didn't talk about the challenges too much. 2 of the biggest challenges, one is internal and one is external. It's more you're dealing with the people. One is the external one is handling different perspectives, right? Because we talked a little bit about it. Not everybody's going to like you, and workplace conflict or friendship conflict, it can be extremely detrimental when it's handled poorly. There's going to be times as a leader where you're going to have to manage conflict between multiple people inside your circle, inside your team. And conflict can be very uncomfortable because we're not I feel like most people don't strive to deal with conflict. You know what I mean? We, in a perfect world, we try not to really deal with conflict, but you will need to solve it before everybody gets disgruntled. And I think this kind of goes back to Todd. I know Todd at Lowe's, man, you were really good at being able to diffuse situations. Not everybody not everybody got along or agreed with the same perspective, but you were really able to diffuse another situation. I know sometimes my former boss, Bill Stevens, who I worked with in the finance industry, also very, very good at diffusing situations. He was always the guy that somebody could talk to. You're staying late in the office, this guy would be there to be able to sit down and talk with you. He'd take time after like 5 or 6 o'clock to like literally sit down and talk to you and be able to like talk as a team together and collaborate. I think some people like that can help diffuse situations, and people that everybody has something good to say about them. That really goes to say about what type of leader that person was. When you touch a lot of people, but he was another person who handled like perspectives great. So my former boss at in finance, Bill Stevens, and then my former boss at Lowe's, Todd Gardner, both great examples of effective leaders. I'm very blessed to have been able to work alongside leaders like that. You know what I mean? Sometimes I've had very crappy leaders too in certain roles I've worked in, but
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, even me, bro, if I want to go back a little, and by the way, the nice little comment. So I believe it was Todd said, it was a pleasure working with you and for you. I learned a lot from you and the whole team we work with. Wow, solid. Awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thanks, Todd. I always appreciate you, my mans.
Definitely. No, bro, I hear you, bro. Same here, man. I mean, if we're talking about jobs only, though, mostly jobs or something that's like business related, maybe I didn't get paid, but it's kind of like a job in a way. But I didn't get to get paid, but I was helping. I had a lot of good leaders, a lot of leaders I met, and again, I was even made kind of like a leader in some ways because they had confidence in me and all that. And I'll say that I had some good and kind of like not so great bosses. They're effective, they're kind of good, but they only saw it one way. So I didn't think they're the best leader, although they were good, because I will give you that credit. I'm never one person to not give you credit where it's due, even if I might not agree with you or even like you. But there was definitely bosses that did better than others. And then, there's ones that stood out completely, like kind of like your man Todd and all that, like you just said, and other bosses. So I had some at the bank, other jobs that very good leaders, very good bosses that will make it easy for you. You can understand the work easy. I mean, they would ask you, okay, I need you to do this by like 3 o'clock or by 5 because you leave work tomorrow. But
they make you motivated. Yeah, they make you motivated. You actually like working for them. You like doing your job.
You feel like you got something to prove. You don't do it right. You don't feel like pushing. Oh man, I'm cornered. I'm just like what it called pressured. But yeah, you're pressured a little. But at the same time, there's a lot of like a lot of hope, a lot of motivation, and a lot of like, how can I say it, bro? It's almost like confidence boost in a way. Like he makes you. Some bosses or leaders tell you this way. We're like, all right, cool. Now you know what to do. Go get him now. Boom. Like I remember one time me and Mary went to school. We were doing a big term paper. And went to the tutoring session at the library there, where they have like the tutors, the Holy Family. And this guy, I guess he's a leader in his own way because he was one of the guys that worked there. He wasn't the main guy, the leader or the boss of the whole, library where they have the section. but he was one of the guys there. He helped me and Mary so well, and he, at the very end told us, "What you guys waiting for? Now you're just wasting time. Go and get it done there." And I remember, bro, I was like, "Kid you not, dude." I remember that term paper was like a death sentence. Maris could tell you this is so hard because the teacher was so hardcore. He wanted it done a certain way. But after we talked to this guy at the library, he helped us so much. We went out there ready to do it, and we did the term paper. We both got like B pluses or like an A or something like that. Which for Holy Family to get a B plus, that's like an A anywhere else, any other college. That's a straight A. But of course, we know there's Ivy League grading system. So it was hard. So a B plus might as well be an A. So you have that sometimes. You have people there, whether they're leaders or not. Sometimes people are leaders, they don't even know they're leaders. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the most cool thing about this whole thing.
Yeah. So, what I just want to kind of go back to the point with deal with different perspectives. I'll leave you with this thought. I think that the challenge for effective leaders, it's creating a space where those ideas can be shared for ensuring conflicting ideas are channeled into a productive discussion that allows growth for shared understanding. Because even if maybe you don't agree with something, you need to facilitate other people's ideas into a discussion and try to understand why it doesn't work or does work, and help them kind of understand a little bit. I just want to harp on this final challenge. I only got the two, like I said, because we're a little crunched. But I think it was a great discussion. This one is an internal problem that I think a challenge that as a leader you can face, particularly if you're a new leader. Say you're in a work role, dealing with imposter syndrome. Now, imposter syndrome. Let me explain what it is. It's common, and like I said, especially for new leaders, to lack confidence or feel like they actually don't deserve to be inside the leadership position. They feel awkward. Say you get a promotion at work, and say, I'll take my field. Say you're a financial analyst and you move up to a senior financial analyst, or you move up into like a corporate finance manager. Now you have employees underneath you that you were managing, where you were the service guy. Now you're a manager. You're a leader. You might question yourself and be like, oh my God, I'm a new leader. I have other people's careers in my hands, or, their pathways to success in my hands. And you feel like you shouldn't be there. Lacking confidence is a real thing, especially for new leaders. You might question your own skills. You might question your judgment. Could lead to indecision, or you might feel like you have to tackle everything alone because you're afraid to ask out for help, which is, even though you're a leader, big mistake. You could always talk to other leaders who are in your position. To squash this syndrome, what I'm going to tell you is to look for evidence of your own capability. Talk to your other managers, talk to your peers, people that worked with you. Ask them for feedback, because you were obviously given a leadership role for a reason, right? You have some type of capability that somebody saw in you. They gave you that leadership role, or you took that leadership role. Ask for feedback, because there's going to be people that are going to say positive things about you. People, that, put you in that position. They put you there for a reason. That'll help you build a little bit of confidence. And the things that you don't understand or don't know, if you're a new leader, it's going to happen. What you need to do is you need to continue to develop your own skills, and in the areas that you find most difficult, and continue to learn, right? That's a characteristic of a leader. Continue to learn. So that's what I would say. The two biggest challenges is it's dealing with your own self-confidence with imposter syndrome, and it's also with dealing with different perspectives among the people, whether it's your friends, maybe it's your family. Maybe you got your wife, and then you have your mother-in-law, or you got your kids are arguing with your wife, or whatever it is. Or
it's about kind of like balancing everything. I agree, bro. I definitely agree.
Yeah, you manage a sports team. Yep, agreed. So whether it's a team, a corporate, it's a work team or family, whatever it is, dealing with conflicting emotions, being able to communicate, right? I think that's effective. Being able to sit down with someone. If someone doesn't agree with you, how do you handle it? You know what I mean? Somebody says, well, they're difficult to work with no matter what. They say, well, I don't like the way you're leading. I don't care. I don't see your vision. And
they don't like your vision or your leadership skills even,
And I'm not budging on it. Well, there's nothing you can do to change their mind. You can try, but here's the thing. At the end of the day, if they really don't like you, do handle what you can handle. Like, change
handle it diplomatically.
How do you handle the situation? How do you address it? How do you communicate with them? That is inside your grasp. You can handle that, because that's literally inside your control. how they feel about you isn't always inside your control. No matter if you try to elicit a emotional response out of them in a positive way, you try to motivate them. There's going to be some people that are like, F you. I don't care. I don't like you. That's what it is. Like, they could hate you. They could be haters, like whatever it is. But how you respond to it is critical.
Okay, bro. So real quick, just I heard everything you said. I agree with everything you said, and some great points. We're 1 hour and 11 minutes. Let's keep it to about 5 minutes. We can do like basically, the shout outs. If you want to talk just a little about the trip, that's cool. And I'll talk about mine.
Yes.
Just let me add up 2 things as well. Definitely agree with what you said. Now, if you ask me, some of the I guess like hardship / challenge. For me, same thing, bro. Just like 2 good ones. Number 1, definitely kind of like hard to kind of balance everything. It could be challenged to balance everything and to keep everything in check. And what I mean by balance everything, I mean like literally like people's opinions, how the work is done, who needs to be off on here. If you're gonna go away, who's gonna take care of everything? Being all that's definitely a challenge in its own. So that's 1. Number 2, staying kind of like ahead of everything, and also moves ahead, and also kind of like staying true to yourself in your mind. Again, not to get too caught up because you're the leader and you're the boss of this. A leader is a lot of things, and I'm also gonna get into that as well in a second. So that's another one. And like you said, I guess the third thing is kind of like what you said, like making sure that whatever it's not just like your goals, but your goals got to be with the company for the good, greater good of the company or the whole group, not just the leader. Because the leader with the group is nothing. The group with the leader is also kind of like nothing either. With the other guys, it's just got to be all one unit. One finger is strong, but this all fingers in one is a fist. This is stronger than this, right? So
yes,
they got to help together. Sir. So that's 1 too. And again, another one about leader is kind of like quote unquote please everybody, but you're not about to please everybody. If people don't want to be pleased, you're not. See, be a leader is not necessarily a people pleaser. You can be pleased. All you can do is hope that everything you do aligns with the goal and the vision and the mission statement of the company, your goals, and everybody together. And if you said, if you have disagreements, what can we find mutual ground? It's very important the leader to know about the mutual ground to kind of like fit in. Because I've been in situations where people didn't agree with what I was doing, even if it was my own party, my own, whatever, my own moment and all that. And I could be like, well, fuck you, but who are you? I'm the one that's making this happen. But I didn't want to do all that. I want to be more diplomatic, more systematic, you know what I mean? Or programmatic in a way.
Yeah, people will respect you more that way. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, sure, people can respect you, be like, oh, you don't like it? Okay, well, fuck you, boom. Cut his mic off, get him out, and he's at the room. He's gone. But we're not in the business of doing that, bro. I mean, even here on the show, we don't got nobody. If you're the cold and troll or talk some crap, you know what I mean? Okay, well, we'll kind of kill you with kindness in a way, you know what I mean? So the whole point is to make sure everybody, is on the same page. And if they strongly disagree, try to, like, I guess you could say, if you can't change your mind, you can convince them or try to show them what it really is, but find somewhere in the middle to kind of connect. People can be like, oh, you know what? Okay, I'm okay with that. It's always, like the saying goes, bro, it's, fair enough. I mean, how much fair can we do this? You want this, but you can't have it. All right, but we'll give you this, and that. Now you're demanding a lot. You got to give us a chance now. It's how you negotiate with people that don't agree with you. Good leaders don't have to get mad or yell. Good leaders do everything behind the scenes. They can crush everything, their goals in a second, bro. Just, by being organized, but knowing how to negotiate, how to deal with people. Also reading emotion. That's a very important trait you spoke about earlier. Being able to evoke and receive emotion.
Be able to control those emotions. Yep. Nah, that's a great point, man, because honestly, it deals with emotional maturity, be able to, hold your emotions. You might be like I said, you might be pissed off. They're like, oh, I don't like you. It's like, well, you might be able to you literally might just be like, well, F you, I don't like that, you don't like my opinion. But you know what that displays when you're able to talk to them? Anytime I've ever not agreed with what someone does and they tell me, hey man, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? I really understand that person's an emotionally mature person, because guess what? Even though I didn't agree with them, they're like, hey, let's talk about it. Let me understand why you think that way. You know what I mean? Like, I always know when someone reacts to me that way. When someone reacts to me that way, I know that they're an emotionally mature person. They're someone who has good communication. Because if you get upset with the first sign of criticism and someone doesn't agree with you, it just kind of goes to show that, you're not emotionally mature. Your emotional intelligence is low. Here's the thing. You can always grow though. Like, you have some work to do. You know what I mean? Like, we're not perfect, but that's what that displays to me. When people go like, oh, there are people that are haters, but everybody that brushes off as, they're a hater when they criticize you, if they gave you legitimate criticism,
that's not hating.
That's not emotionally mature. Yeah, that's not emotionally mature.
People always make up reasons for what they don't like, I mean, it's just what it is, it comes down with territory. But a good leader can don't come across a lot of hate, is gonna keep going forward, you know what I mean? He's gonna, do what you gotta do, you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Simple as that. I mean, you're not gonna get along with everybody, and again, your job is not to be a people pleaser, But to accommodate your crew, whether you're the main leader or not, it comes with it. It comes with territory. And again, people should be mature enough to understand, which is why a great dynamic and a great functioning team works. People are like-minded, but also can understand a leader. You cannot be a leader, a good leader, and you might be a great leader, but you have a team of flunkies and weirdos and people don't understand nothing. You're the leader of a whack team, a trash team. I mean, it could be that way too. I mean, but then again, it comes down, and we can talk about this for a long time. We don't got too much time, but sometimes great leaders even help people change perspective. If you can do that, then you're an amazing leader because you're also an amazing person. There is some people there, but some kind of I don't know, great skill they have, great intervention, divine, way of thinking, grace of God. They can actually change even negative people and actually help them see and learn. And that takes me to this, by the way. I'm gonna spend a few seconds on this and I'll let you talk, and then we'll get to the next stage. What's a leader exactly? A few things a leader is. A leader is a thinker. Number one, right? Let's go here. The camera can't see me. A leader is a thinker. A leader is a compassionate person. A leader is a great speaker, right? 3. A leader is a teacher. You agree on that? 4. Yeah. A leader is a person that how can I say it? A calm individual that talks nice and slow, understands, that can stay, 5. They can stay on top of things and also not bend the ship when the going gets rough, because under pressure, he's calm. He's a calm individual. I did 5 right. Let's do one more, 6. Just to throw one out there. Let me see another one I can say. A leader is we said everything. A communicator, we did say that, I guess. A leader is also an open-minded person. A person that's always an improver. It always improves in itself because no one, right, there we go. No one's knows it all, bro. I mean, even the great leaders kind of go and learn some time. I think we had a discussion once on Facebook. Somebody leader, you said that sometimes said, I think you brought this up, and I mean, maybe at the time I didn't see it right away, but I agree with you. In the long run, I agree with you. They're like a leader. Some people that were not leaders at all, they see like they were leaders, actually become fierce leaders later on in life. That is possible. It's not always very often, though. Usually, almost everybody's a leader. It's almost always a born leader. Some guys maybe are born leaders, but they don't know it. The next thing you know, they're very shy. There's almost like you might see like they're pushovers, but next thing you know, by the time they're 22 or by the time they're 30, they're like, they own a business, they own a company, they make money, they're settled down. You know what I mean? Family, great car, are married, they're good leaders. They're either, if they're not head of the company or own a whole company, some of them own the whole damn company. Some don't. They're kind of like, but they're big leaders and they grew up a lot by the time they're in their 20s and 30s. So they never judge a book by its cover, because a kid in high school, he was shy, never talked. Now could be a big time leader. Could be, people come up in life. He could be up there like, oh, this guy, Marky, he grew up to be a big, time guy. I should keep it cool with him. I was cool back in high school, but we didn't know each other that well. And now you're connected out of nowhere, which is why you should treat people always with respect and always, try to learn and not throw nobody under the bus or now, this guy, he doesn't know anything. No, you never know that. You never know who he knows. I'm just saying, bro. I work in a business, see people every day come to the club and all that, and they're always, like out there, bro. There's always people from all kinds of walks in life. Even at the other job, I've met a lot of people. My old job, my current 2 jobs, you always meet people that they can offer something. So it never look down nobody because just they have a different view or perspective. Because their perspective might not match yours, but guess what? You can learn from his perspective too, and that's real, So
absolutely, man. It's real stuff, I'll leave you guys with the final thought before we do the closing comments. I think that the biggest benefit of being an effective leader is the fact that you can leave your imprint on the world. And I know that's a general statement, but you can leave your imprint on other people. I'll give you an example with Todd. You helped, like, Todd, if you're watching this, Todd helped motivate me to become, I was in my early 20s when I worked with Todd, but that helped motivate me to become the person that a leader like I am today. And you know what I mean? Like, as I work towards managerial roles in my own career,
you're gonna grow, bro. You're gonna love somebody.
People. You leave your imprint on the world by being an effective leader. I think that not only are you helping the people that you do lead, but you're showing an example that can really help. Even if the people that you lead never become like leaders in the role that you were, they have kids, maybe they learn something from you and they can teach that to their future children, their future offspring. You just leave a big mark on the world. I would say you can touch the world. You can literally change the world by being an effective leader, in my personal opinion.
You can. Definitely.
It's a general statement, but
people have done it.
I've learned a lot from some mentors and leaders inside my own life.
That's the beautiful thing about life, bro. You meet people as you go and never look down on nobody, even if you feel like they might not be a leader, because guess what? They could be a great thinker, great worker. A leader is a go-getter, but not every go-getter needs to be a leader per se. I guess you said it earlier. In a more deep way, generic way, if you think about every person has some kind of leader in them, when you make up a plan and you call your friend, you're the leader. You're like, oh, George or Maris, come with me, go get some food, get a drink. that's you. You made up a plan and you kind of leading that idea. All right, come on, and you might pick me up, or I might meet you somewhere, or I come get you, and then we go. But it's kind of like your idea, so you're kind of leading that situation. I don't want to just use the word situation, but what is this scenario? So leadership roles, bro, could be in everywhere. It's such a broad term and even word, but we kind of did a good job of breaking it down. And we talked about some challenges, some ups and even downs or whatever, hard times, easier times, how to be more effective, different types of leaders. I think we covered a nice amount of work here, and possibly we could even do a part two because there's so much we didn't cover yet that probably wasn't on our table contents and notes. But we brought some good content, I would say. We were about 121.
Yeah.
We got a few minutes left. I mean, not too much, but I know you got to go soon. So.
Yeah. I think we covered a lot. So I think we covered the benefits, we covered the tips to become an effective leader, and we covered some challenges. Just also, special thanks to everybody who watched tonight. We had a good amount of people inside the room. I've been seeing at the top. As we're like, I can see how many people are reading, but we've had a lot of comments tonight. I'm seeing like 14, 15 comments. Mainly, thanks for the comments, Candace, Bryce, Nate, Todd, and then my boy Anthony texted me behind the scenes. I think he's gonna watch it tomorrow. If you're watching this later,
Frank text me as well.
Thank you. Appreciate the comments, guys. We always appreciate the support because without you guys, this doesn't work anyway. This is this platform ain't here. This is here to generate value for you guys, and that's the greatest thing that we can do is just be service driven, like we already said in this episode. But thank you for the support, guys. Thank you to everybody, even if you didn't comment, even if you just tuned in and watched. Thank you, because we had a lot of viewers in tonight, which is great to see. And this is some good value we're bringing. So,
yeah, for sure. I definitely appreciate you guys watching. We did reach out to some people again to kind of like a little reminder, and we might do this a little more daily. Well, not daily, but like weekly on our podcast day. But also good, always great when people are like tuning in. And I did see up there that we got a lot of viewers just like last time. And the last 3 episodes, bro, have been good, bro. And not that like we fell off, but you wasn't here for a while, and we skipped a couple of weeks. Of course, July we only did 1 episode the whole month, so a little up and down between summer and now, between late summer and now. But we're back to like that status, and we continue like this, man. Things will get better. So somebody said that we'll get you guys in the thousands up here somewhere in the comments.
I saw that with Bryce. That's my man.
Yeah, Bryce. Thank you so much. We'll have Bryce on here. We'll have probably bring Manny again. I mean, he did an episode last week, but he's definitely with it again.
Guys, we have a really shout out to Manny and DJ Rowe from last week. I haven't met you yet personally, but man, you seem like a really, really solid dude. So I'm sure we'll collaborate in the future. I'll meet you through George, but for sure. And Manny
together, man, and we do this.
Yeah, man, that's how we do it, man. We meet. We each have different people inside of our networks. You know what I mean?
Manny's a solid dude. I mean, Manny now as well. I mean, I see guys do some, network sometime, and converse a little bit here and there. Again, bro, it was a little different not having you there, man. But I mean, at the end of the day, it feels like you never miss a day. So definitely, you definitely were missed. But it was good for me to kind of do my own thing a little too, just in case I'll do eventually maybe do like a solo podcast, do other things. It gives you more perspective, like you just said, and more be kind of like your own leader, So it was good. And I hope you enjoyed your time in DR, bro. I know you did your own thing as well, some business. I was in California last month, guys. Steve was in DR, so we kind of went there around the same time, so to speak. When he was like gone, I was going too. I was only going for 3 days. You're going for like about 10 days, right? Or how long were you going? 2 weeks?
No, not 2 weeks. I was there 5. Was it 4? It was like 4 days. No, 5 days, 4 nights. But it was my first time in Punta Cana, in Dominican Republic. It was my first time outside the country, actually, believe it or not. And the funniest thing about it was my first time ever solo traveling.
What is that? Dom DeMarco.
I actually traveled out there by myself. I traveled out there solo.
Yo, you heard what I said? What is
your? Oh yeah. Oh man, I gotta. All right. Yeah, you talk and I'll pull up the sound bites, man. I gotta pull them up.
yeah, no problem. Yeah,
pull out them, man. I was like, man,
definitely a solid episode. And again, he had a great time because I was looking at your stories a little too, obviously, and a lot of people are watching, probably hitting you up. Man, the one we did with the fish, bro, that was kind of dope, man. You was like in there, like underwater. All you need is like you need to be like with some sharks and some dolphins or something like that. That'd be awesome, though, man. That was a fucking tough ass photo underwater, right? And the resort looked great.
Guys, I did some snorkeling. It was it was in the ocean. It was in the Caribbean Sea. It was in Bavaro. It was in I basically rented a speedboat, drove out with my tour dude, and we snorkeled. My tour guy had a GoPro, which was super cool. I snorkeled to the bottom, snorkeled through like a coral reef, took some pictures with fish. It was dope, and then did like some off-road ATV riding through the back roads when I was there. Smoked a Cuban cigar. it was awesome. It was awesome, guys. If you ever have the means to get out to Dominican Republic, to Punta Cana, highly recommend it. Culture is super friendly. Everybody's very, very welcoming down there. You kind of come back and you're speaking like basic Spanish because you get so used to it out there.
Of course.
But it's really, really cool. All right, I got the where is it? The Dom DeMarco right here.
Shout out to you for going to DR. DR is what is that, right?
Shout out to you too, man. You weren't out on you were back in California, man, in Los Angeles, dude, on West Coast. Yeah. How was your trip?
It was great, bro. It was great. It wasn't the longest. It was longer the previous time, back in August when I competed in Pancrase. But it was very fun. I mean, I was out there with Coach Dan, met some folks out there, got to meet some legends and some big time early UFC fighters, that sort of like paved the way. They fought both in UFC, Pancrase in Japan, and America. I mean, they're solid names, especially in pro wrestling. A gentleman by the name of Josh Barnett, definitely a big name. We'll see how everything goes. Again, we have some connections with him there. Maybe one day, we could get him to our podcast. He's been on the Jorgen podcast a couple of times. I mean, if you're watching, he's definitely a big former UFC heavyweight champion, by the way, as well. And a gentleman named Minoru Suzuki, which was the founder of Pancrase, among a few other names and big names and top names. And then we went to Josh Barnett, an event called Bloodsport, which is like a pro wrestling type of MMA type of event. Really cool. I mean, pro wrestling like, but the funny thing is there's a ring with no ropes, so it's a little different. It's a little different event. So we have set up. I got to hang out with the belt a little. I got to meet some of the guys there, some of the fighters and wrestlers, of course, the legends and the people, the big bosses. My man Eric was up there. Shout out to my boy Eric, and of course Coach Dan, who I went with. I'm going back in November, bro. November 21st. No, sorry, November 19th to the 22nd. So I'll be there again for 3 days.
Oh wow!
I think I'll be in San Diego and Palm Springs. We may take a trip to LA, but this past trip was basically between LA and San Diego, bro. And what I can say, bro, it's a long ride, dude. It's a nice solid 2.5 hours of back and forth. Cali traffic is killer if you catch it like in a certain time of day, but the views there are just beautiful. And I got some stories, I got some, views and all. I think you see some of my pictures that I had. Didn't have a chance to really explore like I wanted to, but I got to see the Hollywood sign from far. I went to Sunset Boulevard and Hollywood Boulevard, and what else can you ask for if it's your first time in LA? I mean, you see the Walk of Fame, you see some of the best guitar and music stores with people got their prints there, their hands, a lot of famous rock and rollers. So I went to like a rock and rollers heaven basically. I got to go to like the CNN building, a couple comedy clubs and all that. We traveled, I saw some real connected dudes, you know what I mean? Gang, if you know what I mean. Oh yeah, it was everything up there, everything you can assume. Got to chill, bro, eat some great LA food, LA and San Diego. And for those who are actually asking me on my DM and asking me some, sending some, comments on my last, episode super chat, asking me how was my trip. It was a great trip. The main difference for those who was asking between LA and San Diego is that basically San Diego looks like a slightly safer, but obviously not as business oriented as LA, but it's a military town because you have Coronado Beach, you have the Navy base and the military base, as well as like a lot of Marines. So where my boy lives with his wife, where they live in that area by Imperial Beach, they're actually shooting machine guns and AR-16. So you can actually hear them. We didn't hear a lot because we actually had left to LA, came back, but that morning we got there, they actually were practicing by the beach. So a lot of machine guns, So which is why San Diego will never really close down as a city, bro. It's too much of an important city. Where is that location-wise? And that's really the difference. Also, LA is a lot more spread out and a lot bigger. San Diego is also big, but when you look at LA, compare LA, which seems way bigger, which it is. I mean, LA is the top city in the country size-wise, and it's spread out. I mean, you go there downtown, it's here. This is the Columbus Boulevard. Basically, it's called the Sunset Boulevard, which is like equivalent to our main boulevard in Philly. And it's nothing but views, bro. You see hills far away, houses, and then you see more hills on the other side, neighborhoods. Some of them might be like rough neighborhoods, but they look like rich-ass neighborhoods. Now, the rich and Hollywood is actually on the other side. So it's like downtown LA is down here, DL, downtown LA, right?
Yeah.
LA is right here. It's up a hill. You can see on the hill, you can see downtown with the skyscrapers and all that. The hill is basically Sunset Boulevard, which is like a rich, nice area. And then you have the Hollywood Hills, which a lot of like the celebrities live, a lot of big people, famous people. And then on the other side, on this side on the left, you have like hills, which is like people say is actually apparently it's kind of like equivalent to like a hood, but it looks like paradise. But it's a hood though. It's like some of them are actually gang infested.
Gotta be careful out there.
I see some guys out there. I should have shown my friend. I see some essays, some buckles, and I just focus on them. They're actually the coolest people ever, bro. I mean, clearly you don't want to fuck with them, but at the same time, very friendly. Again, spoke that broken English, broken Spanish, Spanglish a little bit, Spanish. Like, oh, what up? What you need? They all. I mean, if you need a handyman or somebody for like to buy a cigarette from, this one of those guys could be out there. Mexican Mafia. We saw some Mexican Mafia guys out there. definitely a rough environment. But if you're from there, bro, you're cool. And if you're not from there, all you gotta do is you're not necessarily a tourist. You're just a guy that's viewing. You're just like a passenger, basically. And then no one messes with you. It's just very friendly place, bro. Don't let the movies ruin anything for you. Yeah, there is. Again, I met some of those people, but at the same time, they're not gonna fuck with you if you don't bring nothing there. If you're there to chill, you're good. Know who you with. Know what you're doing.
Well,
There's some
yeah.
people there. Don't be too carry away and too reckless. Do too much, and you're fine. Like any rest in the world, I mean, Cindy kept into Philly in New York. I mean, Philly looks way more threatening than LA. I'm gonna keep it real, but of course we know that LA got what he has.
I'm glad you had a good time out there, man. I'll definitely have to
Super
go
productive day, bro. Super great time, bro. Again, didn't have too much time to explore, but we got to go to some places, and that's all I can ask for. Plus, I went the first time in San Diego, got to see a lot of very important places. So second time wasn't as bad. It was actually we had fun. We got to visit more places. It seems like the more you go there, the more you learn. Like I actually walk around there a little bit in San Diego, and I'm learning the streets there now. I'm going back in November, possibly to LA. But oh yeah, also I was in LA, San Diego, and Anaheim as well. And we stopped in Irvine for very little though. Anaheim we stopped for like an hour or two, not even really. And Irvine was a quick pit stop, but we got to chill for like a couple minutes there. So I got to see a little of Irvine, California. Pretty cool. Another smaller city, but it looks big, but it's small. But it's right there between LA and San Diego, and because San Diego is really the very edge of the country. The very last city in LA is San Diego. After that's Tijuana. It's Imperial Beach, which is part of it, San Diego kind of, which is beautiful by the way. People have money to live there, bro. It's worth some good money there because their beaches look great. I was in October, and it felt like I could have went to the ocean again. I went up there a little bit. I took a look. People are still on the beach. I was like, oh, nice. Their beaches at night are all that, bro. And eating food there in the beach at night, one of those restaurants. They have Greek restaurants, Mexican restaurants, Dominican restaurants, and Italian restaurants, all on the beach, bro. I mean, can you imagine the food culture? It's just amazing.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's got to be a crazy culture, man. It's just like every culture is unique, man. You know what I mean? Just like DR, the culture is similar.
Yeah,
very unique.
We gotta check out DR sometime, man. But yeah, having said that, bro, I think that was basically, like I said, man, a good trip, and it's gonna be definitely another one for me coming up. I think you might do a trip too, like sometime possibly early next year, and we gotta collaborate some trips too, bro. Definitely gotta think about it now that we're a little more free, and we both of us, I guess, I got my second COVID shot today. You got yours both. I mean, not that you need a shot everywhere you go, but a lot of places do demand a shot. It's just mandatory, so we'll make it happen.
True. Yeah, I might take a trip before the end of the holiday. Yeah, so we're winding pretty much down here, guys. Just stay tuned. I don't know if it's before George heads out to Cali or for his third trip or afterwards, but we have a very, very special guest coming on. You're gonna see some more promotions. A celebrity, a former professional athlete. We're gonna have a big time celebrity on here, guys. So really excited for this one. This is gonna be our first celebrity ever. This guy's actually a celebrity. He's
a celebrity. He walks around like he's nothing. Like he's really humble, cool. We don't want to say who it is, but some people know already.
I'll just leave you with this. He's a former NFL player. So you're gonna have a former NFL player on the podcast.
Definitely, yeah. He's
gonna be excited.
It's gonna be exciting, man. Oh, yeah, bro, real quick, and I'll talk about behind the scenes because we got to really close soon, real quick. Everybody's almost done. So I'm leaving the 19th. I'm looking at the calendar right here. The 17th is a Wednesday. That might look like the best day for our friend here, but I'll actually text him tonight because I got his number.
Yeah, when we get off this week, we can talk about it for sure.
I feel like tomorrow, because he usually comes in a lot for a lot of the games too, and he'll watch a lot of like the Eagles, Falcons, Cowboy games. He's big on obviously the NFL player, so he'll come there. Sometimes he goes to the games live. So if I see him tomorrow, I'll speak to him. But I'll text him. Now that I have his number, we're connecting a lot more. So it's almost a done deal, guys. But just the way we got some announcements for you guys. And of course, like I told Steve before, like I told you, the first week of October, a lot of behind the stuff scenes, bro. Will definitely, little by little. It's sometimes we miss a day, an episode doesn't get as much promotion as it needs. But guess what? We always make up on the next one because I mean it's a growing process, man. Some episodes will be smaller than others. Some have better views than others. But our goal is to grow as we go and always keep a nice solid amount of views, of information, promotion, and just get a good episode out there. That's all. I mean, again, some are more lit than others, but just how it's always been. It's never going to be always the same. So.
Agreed, man.
Always trying to bring you guys the best we can. So
that's all we can do.
That, man.
Learn, grow. But
I appreciate you being here, bro. It was great to do it with you again, man. I mean, it's been a while, dude. Definitely a good episode. Welcome back, man. Happy belated birthday. We can talk about a lot of things today. Today was a big, big day, But like I say, you just fell on a good Thursday. So what can you say?
Yeah, man, I'm glad to be back. Glad to be back with you, man. I'm working with you and glad to being able to deliver you guys great content. So excited to be back as we're, we're in the middle of November now. So 2 more months to the end of the year. And just excited as
confident.
always, guys. As I said, thank you guys for the support. We appreciate the comments, appreciate the views. If you're watching this later on, feel free to comment. We'll still get back to you.
Yeah, we can get
Even if
back
it's
to you.
not on the live.
You guys can listen to audio tomorrow. You got Spotify. Again, guys, we're trying to do the best to bring you to every platform. Apple podcast, or things Apple Podcast is kind of a little hard to crack, but we'll get there too. I mean, we got people that understand those kind of things. That whatever you may not know, somebody might know. So we get somebody to help us.
Right. We'll get it up on Anchor, as well. And then we're actually going to move also onto Twitch as well. So, you'll be seeing us on Twitch soon. Also where we'll be working on there. But guys, it was great to be back tonight. Made it worthwhile coming on here and reminiscing with some of my former colleagues, former managers. It felt great to just be in the building with you two, man, and
of course, bro.
talking about talking some facts and some great knowledge. So
some good knowledge.
I think we can end it here. If you're cool with that, we went over obviously.
But we're a little over, but
this was a good episode though. So we're
to be fair, today was a very special podcast. A lot of stuff that we left actually out, like entertainment stuff, but we could catch up on the next one. I mean, it's all good. Just random stuff that came up. I mean, again, today we didn't do too much on the entertainment segment. I did a little last week and the week before that to fill in a little, but guys, how it is entertainment world on YouTube. Something happens every day, and again, we can do this stuff. We also going to do a segment probably on it a little bit more, like maybe a small mini show, like 10-minute show, 20-minute show during the week. Me and Steve will be talking about possible things on our page on YouTube and on IG. So keep your eyes open. There'll be more posts. It could be a story. Because the YouTube streets are on fire, bro. Are on fire.
We'll continue to keep you guys updated on everything. Yeah. And I also posted on the Facebook page today. If you guys are watching, we are going to do a couple holiday giveaways. We're going to do some small little giveaways towards like the December when it gets into like the holiday season. Yeah, so stay tuned for that as well, guys. Excited for the great guests that we're going to be having coming on next couple
Definitely
weeks.
Excited for that, man. I'm just don't worry, bro. I go to Cali 2 days after that. It's all good because he does it on Thursday. That Wednesday we're good. So I just gotta hurry up and make sure I could book him because he's obviously a busy guy, man. And if we don't do it in 2 weeks, bro, we'll do it after. We'll figure it out. I told him November. He reminded because he's poopy. He's like, "Yo, you still good with the episode?" I was just walking to my job. I said hi to him. I walked away. Then he's like, he asked me, "Come here real quick," and he asked me. That's a great sign because I told him so many times, and now he remembers. So he's a man of his word, obviously as
absolutely.
Already, so
all right, guys. I'm excited, man.
Bring our boy too. Don't say his name, but we're gonna bring one of our mentors. We'll bring him too. Hopefully, if he can make it, I understand because they probably know each other, and I'm telling you, that could rock everything. But that could be one of the best episodes up to now. I don't want to talk too much, but I'm excited. So
it's gonna be a big one. So for celebrity, but guys, thank you so much for all the love and the support. Look forward to talking to you guys throughout the week, and then just seeing you guys next week for episode 56. I'm gonna play the little outro to play us out, and thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great night. Peace. This has been a production of the Locked In Podcast. So have a good night, my friend.
Yeah. Have a good night, bro. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a real one. Production of the Locked In Podcast, and we're done.
All right.
All right, bro.